Hey everybody, I'm going to do one of my rare gun reviews. Not because I don't like guns, I've actually got like 40 some odd guns, but YouTube doesn't like them. And if I have too much of a ratio of gun content on my channel compared to other stuff, they actually start demonetizing me. Not for breaking any rules, just arbitrarily go, oh, you know what? We think this isn't ad friendly. I'm like, but you're advertising Smith & Wesson and Brownells in my videos, so which you're charging them money for. So it's just a way for them to just suppress pro-gun stuff. But so I said I wouldn't do much of them, but every once in a while if I found something interesting, and I did. You know, I had the SAR 9, the Chiappa Rhino 357 revolver, which is really, really cool. Go check those out if you haven't already. This is one that I've wanted for a while. I think that's a really cool handgun, but they're like $800 or $900, and I'm like, I don't like it $800 or $900 worth. So what am I talking about? Shadow Systems. So let's go ahead and unwrap this. We're not going to be shooting any guns. We're not going to be doing anything like that. We're just going to be giving a tabletop review. So whatchamacallit, YouTube, don't be bitches about this, okay? We're just doing a tabletop review. We're going to do a safety check. It's a brand new weapon. We're not shooting it or showing how to modify, nothing. Now, I got this because, well, I really wanted it, but also there's a place near here that bought a couple hundred of them because apparently this model is going to be discontinued. They're coming out with a new one. So they bought a shit ton of them, and they're selling them for like around $537, which is insane. That's $250 to $300 off. It's like a 40% discount. So I can't tell you the name of the place or put a website or anything, because then I would be promoting where to buy legally protected products. They have a problem with that. Not because it's illegal, but because they just said, well, that's a policy. So you'll have to Google it. It's a place that is in Dahlonega, Georgia, and it is a gold and pawn. So it's a gun, gold, and pawn place. So if you Google things like Dahlonega, guns, and pawn, you'll find the place. So anyway, so what is it? It is the MR920. This is their version of what a Glock 19 should be. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of people buy their Glocks and then they want to like modify them like they're their car, right? And so they'll upgrade this trigger and they'll do this and they'll, get a different grip, and then someone will ruin it by stippling it with a soldering iron, and then they'll put on a night sights, and then they'll grab a different barrel. They'll do all these things to customize it, and they make a Gucci Glock. Well, one of those companies that was making these parts, there's Zev, there's these guys, and there's a couple other big names out there. They said, well, what if we're going to be buying all of our parts anyway, why don't we just make what we consider to be the ultimate upgraded Glock? So everything on this is basically been upgraded. So the grip, the flat trigger, the sights, the slide, the beautifully Cerakoted or whatever kind of anodizing they do, fluted barrel with a recessed crown, the stainless metal guide rod, like everything you'd ever want to upgrade on a Glock. It's already like that out of the box. And I like that idea. When I buy Glocks, one of my carry guns is a Glock 43X. I don't modify them because, God forbid, I ever had to use it in self-defense. I don't want some asshat prosecutor, picking people for a jury that don't know anything about guns and then filling their heads with nonsense about he modified the trigger to make it a hair trigger to make it more deadly. Even though we all know that's a bunch of crap, it doesn't matter. In a court of law, if you're dealing with people who don't know anything about guns, why give them the excuse of you're using a home modified weapon? I'd rather just not deal with that headache. But this, it's a factory pistol. I bought it, and it is what it is. So it's got beautiful, really nice coating. They've got forward serrations if you want to do a quick press check. It's got it also, milling all that out makes it just a little bit lighter. The sights are really nice. You get a really nice sight picture on that. This is a really nice pistol. Trigger pulls is what's called. Of course, we've done a safety check, although it's a brand new gun. It's never been fired out of the factory, and it's not loaded. but that is an unloaded pistol. But the trigger on it, very nice trigger, much better than a Glock, very crisp. I love that, and it has a very short reset. Click. Mag release is nice. Comes with two. There's another one in the whatchamacallit, in the bag. Mag pull, P-mags. These are 15 rounders. So I'm under the limit. That's another thing with YouTube. Even though you can buy 30, 40, 50 round mags, if you have a video and you talk about and show a 30 rounder, they'll ding you for that. This is not a 30 rounder. This is just 15. See? Mag pull, 15. I've always found them to be very reliable, but you can use regular Glock mags. I'm sure I've got a stack of them in the closet. Very nice pistol. You know, I'd compare it to other pistols. If you know what a Glock 19 is, then you know what this is. This is basically a Glock that has had everything on it upgraded. Unloaded pistol. Take it down just like any other Glock. So take it apart, clean it. Doesn't look like it's got any lube in there, so I'll go ahead and put just a little bit of oil. But really nice barrel. That's kind of cool. I guess that might lighten it a little bit better. I mean, it certainly looks neat. There's that recessed crown, which is nice. That protects it. So if something hits the end of the barrel, you're not actually hitting any of the rifling. But that's definitely a very, very cool. Yeah. Well, what is there to say? It's a much improved Glock. It's a more Glock than Glock. So while I got this open, just going to put a little dab of what I use is 10W40 full synthetic motorcycle oil. I figure if this stuff holds up in an internal combustion engine at those kinds of heat and pressure and a motor spinning 14, 15, 16,000 RPMs or something like that, you know, it should cycle and work just fine in a Glock and provide good protection and lubrication. So we'll go ahead and put that back together. Very nice. So that is the MR920. You can go online. I'll put can I put a link on it? I don't know. I guess you'll just have to Google it to go get the specs and all that stuff. Again, they're really funny about putting links to shit, even though it's a legal product and there's 50 million of them, you know, in circulation. Doesn't matter. It's not about what's legal. It's about their policy. So they had a couple other there. So they've got there's the 1001 model, the 1002, and I think the 1003. So there's different variations of these. There was one that was all black that had a black barrel, fluted as well. And then there was one that was FDE, but they only had one of those left. But they have a bunch of these. And like I said, they had 100 come in already. They're still waiting on another 100 to ship and come into this place. So if you're local, go up, Google them, figure out, based on what I said earlier in the video, who they are, go up and see them. But that is a hell of a weapon for $537. I cannot wait to get this to the range. It's very comfortable. The grip angle is a little bit nicer. It doesn't have the finger grooves, which is good. So it's more reminiscent of like a Gen 5. Some people like the finger grooves. If your hand happens to fit the finger grooves properly, then they're great. Mine never do, so I prefer it without. Also, unlike the Glock 19, I have very big hands. I mean, they're not massive, but they're like an XL or 2XL glove size. So normally when I grip a Glock 19, my finger is barely on there. I'm kind of hanging on. Because it's just a tiny bit longer here and the undercut is a little taller, I actually can get my finger inside that lip. So really nice. Very nice pistol. I'll look at the other back straps, but honestly, that feels perfect. I don't know that I would change that at all. But that's going to be a fun gun to get to the range with. So if you got any questions, throw them in the comments, hit like and subscribe. This is definitely a very choice weapon. This will be a nice collection. I've got tons of rifles, and I actually have probably at this point, I have more revolvers. I mean, I've got my LCP Max, and I've got my 43X. I've got a couple 1911s. I've got a SAR 9 polymer striker fired pistol. I've got a SIG M17, the Army version of the P320. What else have I got? I've got that M9 clone from one of the Turkish companies. The copy of the Beretta. I don't have that many 9mm pistols anymore. I got tons of rifles and shotguns, and I've got way more revolvers than I have of these. But this is one I'd really wanted for a while. I just thought that was a really cool gun, but I just didn't like it $900 worth. But now that it is a reasonable price, at least while supplies last, I was like, I'm going to go kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to go ride my motorcycle up there, grab my backpack, and see if they've got some in stock. And luckily when I got there, they still had some left. So very, very cool gun. Loving it so far. Now I just got to find a holster that fits it. He said that the Phobos holsters don't fit, and I think it's because the sights are taller than Glock sights. So I may have to find a different holster. My preference is the Phobos paddle holster. So I just click it on my belt and go, unclick it and throw it in the glove box if I'm going in someplace where I'm not allowed to carry or what have you without having to take my belt on and off. It's easier for me. So I'll have to see what I can find for these. Might be a little hit or miss, but I'm sure there's a list out there of compatible holsters. But anyway, there you go. I'm also going to do a review in a minute for the knife guys of another Rough Rider Reserve. In this case, it's going to be a large trapper with blue denim micarta. So stay tuned for that.